In the words of Ricky Ricardo, Brinkley RV, you got some explaining to do. Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle, the podcast. I am the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as other things. Brinkley RV is having a frame problem, but it's not the frame you're thinking about. Because the majority of us, when we talk about frames, we think of the foundation, the chassis. But there are other frames associated with RVs. Now, if you're not in the know, Brinkley RV, because let's face it, Brinkley RV and the ownership group is really good at suppressing negative information about the brand. Brinkley RV is having cracks in their sidewalls on a lot of their travel trailers and their fifth wheels, more specifically towards the front of the coach. Now, is it every single one built? No, but it is a huge number. It is big enough where Brinkley RV is seeking help from outside sources to help accommodate the problem. Now, as I dig deep into this, I want you to understand something. Number one, because they're privately owned amongst this group of folks that started Grand Design RV, that was part of Keystone RV, they actually have been very responsive as far as wanting to take care of this problem. But this is a problem that's going to continue at least for a little while because, well, I'll get into that later. But let's give a big round of applause to Nate Goldberg. Nate Goldberg is the best spin doctor in the RV industry. He is the master of spinning stuff. He's the master marketer. He is a master technician when it comes to taking a negative thing and making it seem like it's really tiny. So congratulations to you for telling the world it's an adhesive problem. If it was an adhesive problem, it would look totally different. Okay, so I've spoken now today to a couple of service people that are not associated with Brinkley, not associated with dealerships. They're independent service shops. I sent them the photos that were sent to me. I was also sent links to Facebook groups to see more pictures of this stuff. Apparently, some of them are being taken down daily. I don't know what that's about, but c'est la vie, right? I'll let you figure that out on your own. The reality is, the way these cracks look, they look like stress cracks. Like there's something wrong with the framing of the sidewall. Okay? Not an adhesive problem. What it looks like, and this is just me spitballing here from talking to service guys, from talking to body shop guys, from talking to different people over the phone about the situation, professionals about the situation, they believe that the way they're building the sidewall does not have enough flex going down the road. Okay, so let's remember that no matter what you buy, whether it's a travel trailer, a motorhome, a fifth wheel, there has to be some flex going down the road. It can't be stiff. If it's stiff, it creates stress throughout the entire structure of the vehicle. Okay? So let's put it to you like this. If your house was in a consistent earthquake because of how stiff a house is built, what normally happens? What would happen? It would develop stress cracks, right? So we're always in a constant, that's a bad way of saying it. Let me put it in a better situation. Let's look at houses that are next to fault lines or near fault lines throughout the world. What's a common denominator when these small earthquakes happen along those fault lines? It creates stress cracks. There has to be some flexing because realistically, no matter who builds a fifth wheel, it could be Brinkley, it could be Grand Design, it could be Winnebago, it could be Forest River, it could be Keystone, it could be Jayco, it doesn't matter who it is. They have to have some kind of flex going down the road to avoid those stressful cracks occurring in the structure of the fifth wheel, travel trailer, motorhome, toy hauler, etc. What it looks like is these look like major stress cracks caused by a bad design. Okay, that's what it looks like. It doesn't mean it's what it is. But from what people have seen in these pictures, and these are professionals I talk to, they are basically stating to me that these are stress cracks because of a bad design of the RV manufacturer. Okay. Now, in Brinkley's defense, again, very big defense of them, they are on top of it. But when you're reaching out to independent shops around Indiana, around different places of the country, looking for some relief to help you out with the situation, this problem is huge. Okay? You're talking about, this is not a small problem. This is a major manufacturing error, a major problem with Brinkley RV's design. Okay? Now, I am very confident that they will handle the situation and fix everybody's stuff. Remember, this group of folks, the majority of them, their goal is to sell different RV companies. So they've started boat companies, they've started RV companies, and they typically sell them within 3.5 to 4 years of inception for big money. They're in it to basically build a company and sell it off to a big corporation for large amounts of money, for large amounts of profit. That's what they get in this for. They don't get in this to be in it for 20 plus years. Okay? They're not a Pete Legal. They're not a Bob Martin. They're not a Pablo at Genesis. They're not like the Brady Boys, as I call them, at Alliance. Okay? Their initial goal is not to sell off the company as soon as it reaches its peak, unlike a lot of the group of investors that is involved with Brinkley. So I'm very confident that these guys are going to fix the problem and they're going to come up with a solution for the future. But it does beg the question, should you buy a Brinkley RV that's sitting on the ground knowing that it is going to crack in the sidewall more than likely? I would say probably not. Remember what I've been saying, and I've been saying this for the entire inception of Brinkley. I think they are a really cool looking coach, and I don't think they're a bad unit. I don't at all. I actually think they're actually a decent trailer, a decent fifth wheel. Okay, I put them in the same level as Rockwood and Flagstaff. I put them at the same level as Keystone Cougar and Keystone Montana, even though you guys want to argue with me about that. I put it at the same level as Jayco Pinnacle and Jayco Whitehawk. They're at that same level as those guys, but supremely overpriced for what the product really is. And now we're finding out that not only between the braking issues that they're having with their big fifth wheels, but now this sidewall cracking problem, specifically at the front near most of the bedrooms or front kitchens, etc., you're starting to find out that they're not built the best in the world, because they're not. Okay, they're really look, the design of them is amazing, because one of the best things about a Brinkley is the fact there's no waste of space inside the travel trailers and the fifth wheels. Now everybody's pretty much caught up to it. Okay, for the most part, all the manufacturers have already caught up to Brinkley in that respect. But one of the things about Brinkley is, if you go look at a wall that should have a cabinet or should have shelving or should have something there, there is something there. There's no blank space that you walk in and go, wow, that was a waste. Why didn't you do something with that? So there's a lot of positives behind Brinkley. They have a very unique look. They have a stone-faced frameless window that sucks into the coach. But they're not that innovative. They're not that creative, and they're not that great. They're overpriced for what they really are. Okay? Now, the other thing I'm very confident about is because these guys are independent and they have the greatest spin doctor on God's green earth, I believe Brinkley RV will not lose a beat over this. I don't think they'll lose sales. I don't think they'll lose any customers. And I think that overall there's going to be some corporate RV dealership YouTubers that are going to attack me for this video. And it is what it is. And pretty much, and excuse my language, but if you're going to come attack me over this video before you go do your homework, go fuck yourself. I mean, that's how I feel about it. The thing is, when I speak about these things, I speak at them based on what owners of Brinkley have sent me. And here's the thing. Dealerships that sell Brinkley never wanted me near their stuff. Never wanted me near. Why? Because they know I'm going to go in and pick it apart. And that's the thing. When you have a product that's brand new to the market and it has a great marketing strategy behind it, it basically means there's more gross profit. So a lot of dealerships have been depending on the profit margins, and there are big profit margins with Brinkley. Unlike a lot of Forest River product and Keystone product that are pretty much giveaways nowadays, Brinkley RV, as well as some Grand Design products, are still big profit centers for dealerships. Huge profit margins. So salespeople, dealership owners, sales managers, finance guys, they don't want me anywhere near products like that, because then when I come in and say, oh, by the way, it's not that great of a product, but it's not bad, then the people watch going, well, shoot, I'll go buy something else. Or maybe they buy it, but they're a little more negotiative savvy and go, you know what, I'm not paying 30% more than a Rockwood or a Flagstaff because of the name Brinkley. It's just a reality that we all have to kind of face, that not, and this is the bottom line about it, no manufacturer is perfect, okay? No manufacturer should ever be put on a pedestal. And the problem is, and look, I'm not going to blame them, but I want to say this. These guys started Grand Design RV, put it on the biggest pedestal on God's green earth, and then when it crashed, it pretty much caused a shitstorm that has made people question things that never were questioned, okay? And the reason why is, and I'm not blaming people, okay? I'm not blaming anybody, but it's just a fact of life, okay? Frame failure and frame flex have been around forever. Since the 1960s, 1970s, it's been around, okay? But it was such a small percentage of stuff that was built. And the manufacturers that have been around for 20, 30 years have already made those mistakes. So when you put a brand new company like Grand Design and Brinkley on a pedestal, when something goes wrong, everybody assumes everything else must be just the biggest pile of shit. And that's not true. Okay? Now, I personally don't sell Jayco and I don't sell Keystone. Yet I still sit up here and say they're not the worst products in the world. In fact, I own a Keystone Cougar fifth wheel. And Jayco's not a bad product. There are some bad Jayco products, but for the most part, the majority of Jayco is pretty decent. Most of Forest River is pretty good. Are they all good? Hell no. Are they all perfect? None of them are perfect. And no RV manufacturer should ever be put on a pedestal to say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay? The closest thing to perfection we're ever going to get is Outdoors RV and Northwood Manufacturing. And even they are not perfect. Even Airstream is not perfect. Even Intech RV, which is probably the best small travel trailer built on the market today, is not perfect. Okay? Here's a good point for you guys. And this is where I'm going to go with this, okay? And I mentioned this in my live stream the other day. Liz Amazing made a really stupid comment once. And I know where she was going with it. That's why I'm not going to bash her for it, okay? I call it a stupid comment, but I'm not going to bash her for it because I knew where she was going with the comment. And the comment was, when you buy a $250,000 Ferrari, you're getting a $250,000 quality car. And that's how RVs should be built. Okay. So first off, there's an old joke about supercars, okay? So the joke is, and you could go Maserati, Ferrari, You can go any of them, right? And we'll use Ferrari as an example, or let's use Lamborghini as an example. You need 3 Lamborghinis just to be on the safe side. And I go, what do you mean by that? And I go, well, you need one for when, so one is going to break down and be in the shop. One's going to need maintenance. So you need 3, so you at least have 1 to drive. And if you notice, a lot of guys that are into these supercars, they have 4 or 5 of them. Now, most people go, it's because they're a collector. No, it's because one is going to break. You're going to at least have 2 in the shop at a time. So you at least need 1 or 2 as a backup to drive. They're just as prone to break down. And actually, to be frank with you, one of my buddies that actually owns 3 supercars told me that a 1989 Honda Civic with a blown motor is more reliable than most supercars. So to say things like that are not contextually accurate at all. Okay? Motor vehicles of all kinds need maintenance. RVs need maintenance, no matter if it's a motorhome, a toy hauler, a travel trailer, a fifth wheel. Boats, TVs. If you read through owner's manuals of stuff you buy, there's maintenance to these things. Washer dryers, refrigerators. How many of you actually do the required maintenance that the manufacturer says? Not very many. Okay, now I mentioned this in the live stream. I'll re-mention it again. My grandfather bought probably the biggest pile of junk Class B motor home because it was affordable. It was a road trek on a Chevy motor, and the old Chevy motors sucked. Underpowered and gutless when it came to some of these Class B motorhomes, these van conversions, okay? My grandfather took such good care of that thing. He did the routine maintenance exactly how the owner's manual, exactly how the manufacturer listed it, both for road trek, all the appliance companies, and Chevrolet or GM. What ended up happening? When he sold it, that thing was in such great working order that you would have felt like it was barn kept. Okay? How many of you can say that you routinely every single year maintain your appliances on your RV or your boat? I bet you at least half of you can't really say that, honestly. So when you guys all talk about how things are piles of crap, piles of shit, horribly made, do you honestly do all the maintenance? Do you honestly take care of everything you have? Your shoes, your wallet, your car. Do you do everything in your power to do the routine maintenance to make that thing last a long time? I'm guilty of not doing it. I'm not perfect. I've pushed the limit of oil changes on my old cars before. I've pushed the limit on doing my trans fluid flush. I've pushed the limit of having all my belts changed. We've all done it. We're all guilty of it. And then we get mad and pissed off and kick the car when it doesn't work. Because it breaks down. Because we didn't take care of it. And then we scream and yell what a piece of shit it is. I mean, that's a reality that we all need to kind of face and understand. Okay? So when I talk about Brinkley RV and their frame problem, their sidewall frame problem, that's a manufacturing error. And they've admitted there's a manufacturing error, even though they've spun it into something, oh, it's so small, we're going to take care of it so easily. But what's the reality? The reality is that if you take care of that Brinkley after they fix it, it'll last you forever. If you go buy a Rockwood travel trailer by Forest River and you take care of it, it'll last you forever. If you go buy a Thor Palazzo diesel pusher and you take care of it, it'll last you forever. There's an expense to owning stuff. Just have that understanding. And remember, until next time, RV stands for toolkit and sense of humor.